Electron power! Oh, it is effectively the topic of today's video. G'day folks, Spackman here. Bloody stoked to be with you once again, covering Electrone in today's video. 2 legend hits and 1 from a war against GS. Probably my favourite attack in the game. When it all comes together, it's just, it's beautiful. Now, if you haven't come across the Electrone strategy before, it largely has a bit of a sui hero, so suicide hero portion to the hit. And the reason it gets its name is because we're cloning a blimp or a slammer, typically a blimp though, that has loons and an electro dragon inside it. You can clone the electro dragon or the loons. I typically prefer to clone the loon side of things, and you'll see that in today's replays. This is largely the army I use when I'm attacking in Legend League. So a few wall breakers to help get through a wall, a baby dragon to help funnel, an ice golem will help protect the heroes, a 2-hound Lalo with a decent number of loons there, and some minions for the cleanup. Single clone spell, 2 freezes just to give me options, poison of course, an earthquake if we need to activate the town hall, and then 4 haste for the Lalo. All right, we'll get into these first replays. So one problem I have in Legend League is I really struggle to plan so quickly as in 30 seconds. I like sitting back. I like really properly thinking about a hit, and quite often it's in hindsight. I'm just like, I look at it and I see as soon as I finish the raid how I should have hit it. But that is what it is. It's part of the game. We just need to make the most of it. So this one here was obviously, it's a war type of base. And actually, before we do get into it, with the Electrone hit, I have 2 methods to take down the enemy queen. One is with my own heroes through the suiciding into her. And the other one is with my blimp and the electro dragon inside it. Every now and then I might get really lucky and have some, Eternal Tomb on my pups to help take down the queen. But in general, they're the 2 strategies we go for unless there's like an emergency backup. So obviously in this, central queen can't use heroes. So the idea is I need to get a blimp in there, which is pretty difficult considering the location of everything around here. But I decide to take down this lower section with the air defense, the eagle down there. And through getting that down, I can hopefully get the blimp inside. I typically also drop a few loons before the blimp, which you'll see when you come to it, to sort of protect it for a bit, not only from heat-seeking mines, but also from initial damage from various point defenses. I rage the king up here to try and get him out of the way, so he's fanging it around the corner there, so the queen moves herself over to the air defense to the right and continues on through. So we then drop, as I said, a few loons there. I could have waited a tiny bit longer on the blimp to give them a chance to tank up one of the air defense's damage. So zooming in here, rage, clone, poison, and I end up, I'll pause it here for a second. I did drop the clone a little bit higher than I intended to. As a result, I cloned the E-Dragon, which in this particular raid worked out wonderfully, because there's actually very little damage in the area outside of these 3 expos, which I managed to cover in a single freeze. So in this raid, more than probably any of the others, the electro dragons get ridiculous value. So they're all gone, the sweepers are all gone, and this Inferno Tower is also gone. So it's bloody brilliant value. So now the Lalo started, but there's barely any base left. We're 43%, and we haven't even begun, I guess, the main portion of the attack, which is the Lava Hound and the loons. So 1 haste to get through that bottom section, Earthquake on the Town Hall to make sure he's all nice and ready for us to come in and obliterate him. Warden ability, a haste through the area. Tornado spell isn't causing a problem, which is lovely. A few extra loons up top to deal with those defenses that were sitting up there. A haste to try and cover all these 3 defenses. I think that was a pretty well-placed haste, actually. Very happy with that. And then a final freeze and haste to get through the final section of the base here. and a really comfortable victory, which is fantastic. Now, in Legend League in particular, obviously in War, but in War you can choose your army, you can vary it up. But in Legend League, if you're bringing this attack in and the enemy queen's central and she's got a sweeper right to, protecting her, it can be mighty difficult. Partly probably why I don't have as many triples as I do, and also probably because I'm not adjusting as well as I could in order to deal with those situations. But what I do on occasion, I've been trying to get better at, no master yet, is changing up the electron, so I'm using a slammer instead and actually kind of dropping that as part of my Lalo, so that as the Lalo sort of comes through where the enemy queen is, I can take her down by popping the slammer and then using the E-drag on her then. But I don't have a replay for you at the moment to show that. Now this attack here, very common internet base. We've seen it all over the joint. I was trying to figure out whether I should use the blimp or the heroes to take down the enemy queen. In the end, I settled for the blimp, mainly because it's a very heavy area, a lot of point defenses here, and the ground expo, but also because this sweep is pointing up here towards the eagle, and the heroes can deal with that without having to worry about the sweeper. So that was a plan here. We'll go 2 times speed as we sort of get into this. And same thing again, coconut loon and rage, clone. And as you can see here, this time we did clone the loons as planned. I didn't decide to use the poison on the dragon because I realized I didn't need to. With the cloned E-drag, he should be able to deal with that on his own. And then I start my king going around the top side on this lab up here. And the queen shortly afterwards protected by an ice golem. And once this king's cleared this space here, I drop a coconut loon and then the baby dragon to deal with that inferno up top. And that sort of clears that section. The queen almost ran to the right, but she manages to deal with that section pretty well and then take down the eagle artillery. Now with the Lalo here, I kind of had it in 2 sections. The main Lalo dropping hounds, loons behind, going through, haste, etc., etc. But I also hold a number of loons, particularly for the town hall to take that down. And I drop the warden with those as well to keep them alive. But as you can see here, we only have single infernos left. So it's a very sort of simple Lalo. It'd be a lot more frustrating. Still probably very doable with what's left on the base at the moment, but much more simple when we consider the fact that we have... There you go. So as you can see, I dropped some loons up top, earthquake that town hall, and I realized I've got to haste these early guys as quick as possible because there's not as many going to the town hall as I was hoping. Now they're all kind of shifting, but the wardens run ahead and luckily did not hit a black mine. That would have been very dicey. So freeze the town hall because he was starting to wreak a bit of damage, but I still had 2 freezers at play, so really sort of comfy at the moment. Haste through the expos down below. As you can see, we've already dropped the cleanup minions in general across the board. Freeze the final air defense. Haste through that, and obviously just a wizard tower, archer tower, and single target inferno left. So this is pretty much done and dusted. And as you can see here, fantastic early on, taking down this whole queen section up at the top left. Didn't actually need to use a single troop from the army. Used the clan castle and, well, I guess 5 spell spaces, but no troops. And that's one of the key sort of strengths of this attack. Now, the next one, as you can see here, 60-69, we lost to GS in the war. They came out absolutely firing and just never stopped. It was beautiful and disgusting to watch. So thank you. But no thank you, you know? All right, so which one was it? It was number 15. And this was a cleanup hit as well. And the previous hit actually had a very similar strategy. It was Electrone as well. But in this time, as you can see, the army is similar but a little bit different to the one I used in Legend League. Particularly the fact that we have 2 clone spells here. And the previous hit did a sui, or tried to do a sui into the enemy Queen Inferno down the bottom here by freezing the Inferno Tower. Unfortunately, this Expo basically destroyed the wall breakers, and it was a wall breaker fail, so that didn't help. So the king here funnels that all the way, drop an ice golem, freeze the area, then drop all the wall breakers. Already knew there wasn't any mines in the area, so that wasn't a problem. I did bring 6, thinking maybe there was a small chance I could get the second wall down. Wasn't really the end of the world in the end, because of when the ice golem died to that spring trap there. Wasn't expecting that. It only became very close. I only just managed to get the queen down, but we got the queen down, and that's what's most important. And then we sort of begin the electro. Now, before we do get into this, I did know that there was there's a Tesla next to this air defense here, and there's a black air mine here, as well as a black air mine in this central area. So my goal for the blimp was to line it up, basically bang on the walls in between the wood and the Inferno Tower here. Rage that area and drop a clone on one side and on the other side, left and right of that, hoping to try and get the Inferno, the air defense, and on the left, the Eagle and the other air defense. In the end, I think one of the clones was a little bit off either, or I mispredicted the pathing, which could have also happened. And in the end, all the loons sort of stayed to the right. I was planning on doing a Lalo counterclockwise, but had to adjust because I didn't quite get the Eagle down as I thought I was going to. Wasn't the end of the world, obviously, but in hindsight, potentially maybe only a single clone was needed, but was really happy with how the raid ended up in the end. So, you know, we got the 3-star. We're not going to change what happened now. So I had planned for having to come do a Lalo this way around anyway. It's always good to have backup plans if things don't quite work out. So it wasn't like I was, trying to completely figure things out on the go. Unfortunately, all these loons are bloody over here. I'm pointing at the screen here. You can't see what I'm pointing at. All the loons sort of avoid the eagle the eagle early on. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. But hasted into the town hall, earthquaked it up. Did I earthquake it up? I don't think I did. Freeze this final area. Knew there was an tornado there, but that wasn't a problem because the amount of loons we had up. There's just so many loons at play at the moment. Absolutely ridiculous. The final haste has obviously been dropped. No more spells, but all we have is one lonely archer tower and the poor little archers on top there, and not going to stand a chance in holding on strong. So that's basically it, guys. Electrone, I reckon it's got to be my favourite strategy in the entire game. It's just so fun when it all comes together. Just seeing once you pop your blimp in the centre, you rage, you clone the area. It's kind of like some sort of atomic bomb in the middle of the base and just comes out. It's just bloody beautiful to seeing the damage and the carnage it causes. So thank you guys for watching once again. And please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to try and get some more videos out, trying to get my life a bit more sorted out, a bit better balanced, particularly with work, as I've been so tired and busy of late. I just haven't been able to do these videos. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time.